Well, just want to reiterate what I've already said. Very excited to be here. Had a great week. Guys have been working very hard in preparation for this regional. Had great practices. Everybody's in good spirits. Worked on a number of things, and now it's go time. And we had our last practice just now, and hopefully our guys can rest up and get ready for tomorrow night. But very excited. Understand what kind of challenge we have in front of us. We have an incredible field. UNC Greensboro, Vanderbilt, and St. John's, all very, very good teams, extremely competitive teams. But we are, we're the host team here, and we feel good about playing at home. We've had some great games this year at home, played very well at home. Our guys are very comfortable at home, and we're going to have some great crowds here. A lot of purple and orange in the stands when we play. So very excited to play in front of our home crowd, but we know we've got an awfully tough test this weekend.
Coach, you talked about being able to wipe the slate clean and treat this like a new season. How much of a sense do you get from the players that they've been able to do that?
Well, we try to do that by just focusing on every day trying to get better. Our big messages this week are just, more than anything else, you got to wipe this. The only way you're going to wipe the slate clean, so to speak, is you've got to have evidence. And we talked a lot about that the other day. We all have faith in each other. We have faith in our team, faith in our program. We went through great times. We went through some tough times, but you got to have evidence. It's one thing to have faith. It's another thing to have evidence that you're a good club. So we talked an awful lot about a lot of the things that we've done well this year. And I think our guys are excited about it. We've worked on a lot of things this week in preparation for tomorrow. But more than anything else, we have to draw on our strength. When we're successful, what do we do well as a team? And I think our guys will attest to that. It's been pretty relaxed, but also, a big sense of urgency every day to get better. And I don't know if there's anything else that we can do to try to prepare our team for this weekend than we've done this week.
Rudy, I know you guys got to get out and have a little fun yesterday. What did that do for the morale of this team?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You guys got to get
the team
out.
outing we had yesterday? Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. We got to go up to the reserve at Lake Kiwi, which is a beautiful venue and a nice place to get away and relax. We kind of played some golf, got out on the lake, rode the boats and jet skis, so it was a good day. But we made sure we got our work in, yesterday morning before we went, and that was the main focus yesterday. Was we're going to work tomorrow morning, and then we'll get to have fun, when work's over. But yeah, we had a great time, and it was a good team bonding experience.
Seth, is there anything you guys can take from last year's regional here? Any lessons learned, or is it all just start over?
I think the guys that were here last year and experienced, what we had in the regional last year. I think different circumstances, but same situation. We came on hot last year, and this year, we kind of cooled off, and but we're in the same place, same time, and I think we have just as good as a chance as we did last year, obviously. And I really think that the guys last year learned that you can't take any game for granted, any inning, any pitch, because teams come in hot, no matter who they are, no matter what their record is. And Coach says this is like a brand new season, and it is. And now, in my opinion, we're one of those teams, that clean slate. We can go in there and just compete to the best of our abilities.
Monty, the thought process behind doing a team outing is, what was your thoughts on that as a coaching staff to do that?
We just try to do everything together. I think when the school year is over, during the school year it's very difficult. Our time is limited with our guys. We have afternoon practices or we have game day. Guys have class. Guys have tutoring. They have study hall. They have a lot of academic requirements around baseball activity. And once that's over, we really just try to keep our guys together. I think we try to draw everybody together and make sure they understand that now is our time to really, more than any other time of the year, to become a family. Chemistry is very important. Working on things together is important. We just try to spend as much time as we can together as we prepare for the postseason. So, we try to do things like take them, let them go play golf, go out on the lake and ride on the tubes and just have a good time. Really just more than anything else, it's what you do as a family, right? When you get an afternoon, you're done with practice, we don't have class, we don't have any academic, situations going on. So we try to spend some time together and make sure first and foremost that our guys understand that we're a family and we're in this thing together, and we work together and we play together.
You feel like Alex, the best option for you in game one, and Charlie maybe coming back for game two?
Yeah, I mean, we felt like it was. I mean, we kind of went back and forth all week long before we made that final decision. But we just felt like when you look at the matchups, you look at the different teams, we felt like we have the best chance of winning a regional by going with Eubanks in game one and Barnes in game two. You know, that's the bottom line. We're trying to get to the championship game. So we felt like, I mean, heck, you know, pick your poison. When either guy is on and doing what he does, they're truly a 1A and a 1B. I mean, Alex has had unbelievable starts for us. You know, the best offense, one of arguably the best offenses in the country was Wake Forest. You know, we saw what Eubanks could do to a team like Wake Forest. When Alex is on, he's as good as anybody we got. And he's a big-time competitor. You know, we call him the Bulldog. He can't stand that. So if anybody sees him, you know, tell him he's the Bulldog. He does not like that nickname, but we call him that a lot just to irritate him. But he's as good as it gets when he's on. And, you know, Charlie, you know, we feel like it gives us the best chance to win this regional. But we all know the bottom line is whichever order we went, we got to play well. You know, we feel good with either guy going. You know, whether we started Charlie in game one and Alex in game two, that's good too. The bottom line is that they got to be on top of their game. These are very, very good offensive clubs we're playing, and you know, and we gotta pitch and defend because each one of these teams is very offensive and they got great pitching as well. So, bottom line is regardless of the order we went, we got to play good baseball.
Charlie, with that said, you're going to go 10 days in between starts. What do you do to keep yourself sharp?
You know, I took a little time after the AC tournament. You know, I was on short rest for a few starts in a row there, and so I took some time. And then ever since then, I've just kind of been back on my routine, doing what I normally do for a 7-day start. And so I threw a little longer bullpens this week to try and keep myself sharp. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy, so I think it's basically just the same thing, that weekly routine.
Coach, is the home field advantage maybe eroded a little bit because you've got two head coaches that are very familiar with Clemson, with Doug Kingsmore Stadium, and then a fourth program in Greensboro that pretty much spent the last week in the upstate?
I think home field advantage goes to the players. You know, I don't think it has necessarily anything to do with the coaches. You know, the bottom line is we've played, I believe, 35 of our games here. So I think the home field advantage goes to the players and it goes to the crowd. You know, the crowd is what makes it the home field advantage. The comfort zone that our guys have playing at home in front of their crowd, and some of the pressure that it puts on you. And we all know how that is when you go play other places. You go and play in front of 5,000-6,000 people, and it's a tough crowd. It puts pressure on your team. You know, it's tough. There are tough places to play because of the crowd and because of the environment. So we certainly hope that's the case this weekend, that our crowd is really, really into the ball game and energetic. It makes Doug Kingsmore a tough place to play for the opposition. That's what the home field advantage is all about. I don't necessarily think it changes coaches at all. You know, I don't coach any different or feel any differently if I'm on the road versus at home, outside of you can feel the energy of the crowd. And as a head coach, you feel a little bit better when you're playing at home because you feel like your guys are going to play better at home. So I think it's more for the players than it is for the coaches.
Rudy, how much of a relief?
Do you draw on that super regional you went to a couple of years ago? You know, nobody on this team's been to a super, won a regional. How does that time with the college help now?
Obviously that team was very, very special because of how tough they were. And that team taught me a lot from a coaching perspective of how much a blue-collar toughness mentality that you try to create as a program can help you in the postseason. And these guys will tell you, I mean, we preach and preach and preach being competitive, tough, hard-nosed baseball, and not letting the moment get too big, having no fear of failure, just play as hard as you can every single pitch of the ball game, believing in yourself. That's what we talk about. We don't talk about X's and O's nearly as much about what we can bring individually and as a team to the ballpark. You know, it's more about a mentality than anything. And if you bring the right kind of mentality into the postseason and you execute, you got to play good baseball. Bottom line, you can be as fired up as you want to be. If you don't play good baseball, it's not going to matter. You're playing the best of the best. You got to play good baseball. But you got to have that belief system. You got to have that swagger. You got to have that confidence. You got to have that chip on your shoulder, that blue-collar mentality that it takes to beat the likes of a UNC Greensboro, a Vanderbilt, a St. John's, to get you to the next step, which is the Super Regional, where you're 2 wins away from Omaha.
Andrew, to that point, as you kind of wrap up, will there be something avoid in your career if you don't make it to a Super Regional, maybe make it to a College World Series, for all the good things that you've done, you won an ACC tournament? Is there a little bit of a sense of urgency to, we've been here, let's take that next step?
Yeah, definitely there's a sense of urgency, but I don't know that I'd say, that's a defining moment in my career. I've been able to be coached by two of the greatest coaches that this game's seen. First with Jack Leggett being a Hall of Famer and him giving me an opportunity to wear this jersey, and then this guy coming in and believing in me and giving me another opportunity to continue playing in my 5th year here. But yeah, I definitely as a collective unit, I think there's a sense of urgency to prove to ourselves and mainly just ourselves that we belong here and this was deserving, and I think our guys will be ready to come out tomorrow and play some good baseball for the weekend.
How much of a relief was it for you, Rudy, to know that you're going to be able to play here at home one more time? And how nervous were you going into Sunday night about that?
I'm not going to lie, I was pretty nervous. But at the same time, that's out of my control. We had done what we could do, and at that point, it was just sit back and wait. But, like Coach was saying earlier, you got to have faith and you got to have evidence, and I feel like our evidence was our body of work throughout the course of the season. We had some good moments, and we showed on multiple occasions that we can compete with any team in this country. And it's the main thing is getting that belief system back in everybody's heads and playing with a lot of confidence and that same swagger. But at the same time, this is a brand new season and anything can happen in the postseason. So we got to go in with a Zoom focus and a concentration that's elite, and I think we'll be ready to play.
Seth, what's the biggest difference of playing in the NCAA tournament and playing just a regular weekend series or ACC tournament?
There's definitely a sense of excitement. I think one of the reasons that draws athletes to the sport is just the amount of failure, and and when you succeed, it just means that much more. And obviously, the stakes are higher, the risk is higher. Obviously, you lose, you go home kind of thing. And I think that almost contributes to almost the amount of emotion shown throughout the playoffs, in the sport of baseball, at every level. And I think that's where the excitement comes, and that's where, the fans really get involved and they really enjoy it because they know what the stakes are. And, as a player, towards the end of the year, and, you're kind of getting to that point where your body's starting to feel it, it's almost like it's a brand new start. You're running on fumes, but yet, there's something driving you. You don't know exactly what it is, but something's there, and something's pushing you hard, every pitch, every at-bat, every time you get on the field. And that's what makes the postseason so special.
Coach,
Sorry about that. And the last thing I was going to say was that, and being able to play at home is just going to be an awesome experience to be able to have that.
Coach, what do you know about this UNC Greensboro team and what they're going to bring to the table tomorrow afternoon?
Well, I know Link Jarrett very well. He's somebody that I've respected for a long time, have a great relationship with him. We talk hitting on the phone from time to time because he's so good at what he does. He played for Mike Martin at Florida State, so that everything that he teaches, came from Coach Martin, and we know how good they've been offensively over the years. So, their offense is kind of driven on being able to use the whole field. They're a very difficult team to pitch to because they're going to sit in certain parts of the plate and sit on pitches. So you got to be really, really smart about your game plan on how you're going to pitch them, and you got to execute pitches. The game plan can be thrown out the window if you don't execute pitches. This is a team that's going to put a lot of balls in play. They're going to hit the ball all over the field. They're very, very difficult to strike out. They're really going to shorten up and put the ball in play with 2 strikes, and they're going to force you to make 27 outs. That's what they do. So, it's going to be a lot of base hits, a lot of ground balls, a lot of quality at bats and tough at bats. They'll bunt when they need to bunt and move runners up. They'll safety squeeze, they'll suicide squeeze. They're gonna do some things. So, big key is you got to pound the strike zone. You got to understand what your game plan is, pitching wise, and what you're going to throw in certain counts because they will sell out to certain pitches on certain sides of the plate. So you really got to pay attention to their swings so that you can combat that with a game plan. So very, very well coached, very tough to get out. They score runs. So that's going to be the key for us is, Alex has got to be on top of his game. We got to catch the ball behind him. And we got to find a way to hit a left-hander that's got a really good fastball, a good slider, has had success for him. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", big, tall left-hander with a good arm. We got to figure out a way to score some runs off a left-handed starter, too. So, keys for us, we got to score early, and we got to keep putting together good at-bats, and hopefully we can get a good start out of Alex. And if we got to go to the bullpen, our guys can execute pitches and stick to our game plan.
From the moment that this season ended last year, at this time, the wait to get to the now, the immediacy of this moment where the postseason begins tomorrow, what was that range of emotions like in getting this chance again, and what have you thought about and dreamt about during that time, that wait for this moment?
You asking me?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, I didn't know who you were asking. I don't sleep very good, so I don't dream. I'll tell you, to be honest with you, as a coach, you kind of feel it every day. You feel it every day. And any coach that is passionate about his team and passionate about his program, if he doesn't think about it every day, he doesn't need to be there. I mean, that's the bottom line. When the season ended, I was in a bad mood for quite a while. And you start that sense of urgency of recruiting of, okay, we're going to recruit in a way that we're not going to put ourselves in this position. We got to bring in the type of players that can keep us in the postseason, can get us to the next step. You start thinking about what your game plan is going into the next fall to try to get the right message to your team for the fall. As far as what did we learn from last year in a positive way and in a negative way that we can grow and develop as a team and as a program. So think about it every day. As soon as we lost last year, I thought about it every single day. What can I do? What can we do as coaches and players to put ourselves in this position again, to get this chance again? It's been a lot of hard work, but it's on the players. The players have put into work, and they put themselves in a position to play here at home. For me as a coach this time of year, it's on them. It's up to them. There's not a lot that I can do at this point to, for us to win a regional. It's up to the players, the Andrew Coxes, the Charlie Barnes, Seth Beers, the older guys that have been here, that went through that last year, the ups and the downs of this year. They're going to be the driving force between whether we can win this regional or not. So I'm just here to cheer them on and encourage them.
Speak for Coach and then Seth.
In that sterile environment in an NCAA tournament and the pressure that comes from a huge crowd at home especially.
What's the difference? For us, when it comes to playing, you want to try to put yourself in a position to play regardless of the circumstances. Because we're going to play games. Oftentimes we're playing at home, we're playing in front of pretty good crowds. But we're going to play on the road, and we're going to play in different environments where the crowds may not be as big. But I think these guys will tell you, we put so much of an emphasis on every single game mattering, and not one game is bigger than another one. And we preach that and preach that and preach that throughout the course of the season, because we are trying to build a resume to get right here where we are right now. So in the postseason, it's all about celebrating the fact that, man, we are hosting a regional and we are playing in front of our crowd. There's going to be 6,000 plus people here tomorrow night, and they're all going to be pulling for our guys for the most part. There's going to be a bunch of purple and orange in here, and it's going to be an electric environment. And that's what you sign up for. That's why you come to Clemson, and that's what it's all about. And we're in that position. So it's about enjoying it too. And you got to enjoy the fact that, we've worked as hard as we can to put ourselves in this position. Now let's go play, and let's have a lot of fun, and let's compete our rear ends off to win this first game.
For you, Monty, and then Seth, obviously the goal at the beginning of every year is to make it to Omaha. That's what everybody wants to do. Now that you're here, can you allow yourself to think we're just 6 wins away from reaching that, or do you still have to say no? It's all about UNC Greensboro.
Well, I've learned a lot over the years about looking that far ahead. You start looking 6 games away, you start looking 6 outs away, you start looking 9 outs away, and next thing you know, you lose. And so I've learned the hard way many times, man, we're just 6 outs away from this thing. And then next thing you know, something bad happens. So I don't do that anymore. I really don't. I've learned my lesson. I don't count down the outs. I don't count down stuff like that anymore. Hey, you know, we just got to get to 40, we got to do this. I don't do that anymore because it doesn't work. Now, the bottom line is you got to stay in the moment. You got to maximize every day, and you got to play every pitch. You know, because as you've seen in baseball and in the postseason, we were down 6-0 against Western Carolina in the first game last year. If you guys remember, I think that's right. We wound up, you know, blowing it open late, but you know, imagine what that feels like. You're sitting there in about the third inning of game 1, and you're like, we're down 6-0. You know but we had a belief system in that club that we're going to find a way to get this thing done, and you know, that's what we're hoping for. You know, this weekend, if something bad happens, I've told our guys, you know, if something bad happens, we give up a few runs, just relax. You got to keep playing. We got to play every pitch. The bottom line is you got to play every pitch because that one pitch can win you or lose you the ball game. So, you know, 6 games away from Omaha. Here's the thing is our guys have got to understand it goes from 295 to 64, and we're in the 64. And we're one of the teams out of the 16 of those 64 hosting a regional, so enjoy it. And let's just do everything we can to play our best baseball. You know, there's no pilots on our team. We're all on the same plane. So we're all trying to go to the same place. Nobody's the pilot. We're all in this thing together. And let's just compete as hard as we can and have a lot of fun, believe in each other, and see what happens.
Coach, Chris Williams' injury really hurt you down the stretch. He was hitting as hot as anybody. It was a triple short of the cycle when he got hurt. You know how valuable he is behind the plate as well. How close is he to being 100% and actually being able to catch a game?
He's going to be in a position to where he can pinch hit or DH, you know, probably for the rest of the year. So you know, his arm is not in a position you know, to be able to throw to where he could get back there and compete as a catcher. But he could DH. He can pinch hit some. So you know, that's where he's at. And is it a big loss? Yes, it's a big loss. I mean, anybody will tell you you got a catcher with that kind of power. There's very few catchers across the country that have the kind of power Chris Williams has. You know, he hit in the middle of our order all year. This guy also came off of a hamate injury at the beginning of the season. So, you know, he's dealt with 2 injuries now, you know, in this year, and he's still, you know, he's put up some monster numbers for us. So it obviously hurts. It's a middle of the order threat. It's a guy that can leave the ballpark, you know, at any point in time. But he is such a great kid too. You know, he's just, you know, everybody loves Chris Williams because of how he plays. He plays the game like a little kid. So, you know, we miss his energy and we miss his bat and his ability in our lineup and on the field for sure. But you know, we can't use any, that's not an excuse. We got to move on. You know, Wilkie's got to do a good job behind the plate. He's got to step up and he's got to serve his role and do his job. And our guys understand that. And offensively, we got to try to pick up the slack. You know, we got to try to put together good at bats because we know Chris isn't in that lineup. And, you know, hopefully some guys can step up. Postseason, you know, I told him the other day, you know, it's where big time players step up in big time situations. So hopefully our guys can do that.
Charlie, with that being said, with Kyle behind the plate and sometimes Robert,